A lot of people have not been super happy about the RTX 5060, but we're gonna really throw it back today to do an RTX 2060 comparison to the 5060 to see how far we've really come.
And with all that hatred of the RTX 5060, have we actually gained enough performance over the years to make it worthwhile? We'll talk about that after a word from today's sponsor.
When it comes to portable charging and power supply services, one company we love using is today's video sponsor, ChukeTech. Today we are taking a look at a few of their products, like the ChukeTech Power 15 Ultra, which has a 165 watt max dual port output, allowing you to charge a 20,000 milliamp hour battery in just 45 minutes. Pair this with the universal fast charging compatibility, 140 watt max single power output, and 1.3 inch TFT display. You get a versatile and powerful portable battery capable of keeping all your devices charged and ready. And the ChukeTech 65 watt USB-C charger is perfect for high-speed portable charging. This thing is insanely small while still having a total output of 65 watts. With the GaN 3 technology, you get maximum power while minimizing heat generation, ensuring optimal performance no matter the use case. But if you want something even more versatile and powerful, the ChukeTech 10 GaN charger might be what you need. Not only does this charger look amazing, it's extremely travel friendly due to the size while boasting a 100 watt max output and a variety of ports. This ensures you can simultaneously charge multiple devices with ease. If you're interested in learning more about ChukeTech and all of their amazing products, check out the links in the description down below or head over to their Amazon store today. Big thanks again to ChukeTech for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get back to it.
So we picked up this RTX 2060 for $139, and we got a big boy. This right here is much larger than most 2060s we ever would have bought. It actually needs an 8-pin and a 6-pin, which most of them don't. Most of the time they're just a single 8-pin, but this is a big Asus ROG Strix model with 6 gigs of GDDR6 VRAM. Pretty good display out and everything. This is definitely about the best case scenario we could have gotten for a used 2060 because you can't buy them new anymore.
And for our 5060, we have the classic Asus Prime card that we've been using for a lot of our benchmark videos, and we'll go over all the key specs of both GPUs so you can get an idea of the release dates, the MSRPs when they launch, because to be honest, the MSRP of the 2060, I didn't realize how expensive it was on launch. I kind of forgot about it over the years, and then we'll talk about our test bench we will be testing these GPUs in, because today we're using a very particular test bench. We're using one that's more mid-range. We're not using our super high-end GPU test bench. We're using one that makes more sense for the budget 2060 and the budget 5060 to see if the improvements from the 2060 to the 5060 are that substantial, or is the gap much closer than we think. We'll talk about the key specs of the 2060 when it released and everything you should know, and then we'll talk about the 5060.
So the RTX 2060 came out on January 7th of 2019 at $350 MSRP. It has a 12 nanometer Turing architecture. It is PCIe Gen 3 by 16, which is kind of a cool advantage for those older builds out there, and it has 6 gigs of GDDR6 VRAM.
Now the 5060, released on May 19th of 2025 with a $299 MSRP. It is a 4 nanometer Blackwell 2.0 GPU with PCI 5.0 by 8, which does limit it a little bit in non-Gen 5 CPU slots. If you go into Gen 3, you will be limited to Gen 3 by 8, important for upgrading older systems. And this does come with 8 gigabytes of GDDR7 VRAM. Now we're going to briefly talk about the test bench we're going to be using to test these two GPUs. This right here is our standardized open air test bench, which features a 9600X and 32 gigs of DDR5 memory. Everything else really doesn't matter. It is a B850 motherboard from ASRock if you are curious, but in terms of the key specs, that's what we're rocking with instead of our 9800X 3D, so you guys can see a more mid-range CPU to where CPU bottlenecks can actually happen and have more real-world benchmarking numbers for you guys at home, especially when it comes to the 5060, which would make a lot of sense being paired with the 9600X.
So now that we talked about the test bench and we talked about our two GPUs, we're going to find out if NVIDIA has been actually slacking all this time and just ever so slightly adding performance, or if maybe there's a huge difference after all these years. Okay, so we are testing out the 2060 in Doom the Dark Ages, and this is where like this GPU, it's actually crazy the age that it's showing right now. Because this is with no upscaling, just literally just 1080p medium settings.
Yep.
So you can see here 1080p, I still hear noises in the background. Yeah, like
medium.
no upscaling. It's unplayable. I don't think we're gonna have that issue at all with the 5060 just because we've tested the 5060 so many times. So I know a lot of you guys just hate the 5060, but I feel like there's going to be some pretty major improvements here.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see because especially in these newer titles, obviously older games if you're playing esports titles, I think we have an esports title in this that we can test. It's definitely going to be a difference, but the 2060 will still be playable. It's just a matter of what you get the 2060 for. If you're going to play a game like this, clearly it's not going to work. So maybe just try to see what settings we can do to get this to actually be playable.
Dude, look at like watch when I put my shield up. Oh. It's like slow-mo.
That is crazy.
Yeah, so unplayable right now. Let's see what it takes to get it playable. Try DLSS. There's no frame gen with it, obviously, but we'll try that. And let's do ultra performance.
Ooh, yeah.
Make sure we don't have any. Yeah, our path tracing's off. Now this game is a game that has like the built-in. Notice the VRAM.
That might be, yeah.
Okay, it looks like
it's still 30 FPS. It looks
is
really
responsive.
bad.
It does look pretty bad. It actually looks like an old Doom now. Look at the
Yeah.
like outline that looked like 8-bit.
If you want the retro experience at 30 FPS,
Let's try FSR because we have had really good luck with FSR and AMD or
You know what's-
Intel or Nvidia.
NVIDIA, Intel,
I don't know
or
what we're benchmarking right
You know what's
now.
crazy is that 30 FPS looked playable compared to
Yeah.
what it was before. 30 was smoother.
You know, this is like
Yeah.
the response time's pretty. I'm getting like that slow-mo again.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying the 2060 unless you want to go like 720p or maybe the ultra performance at 30 FPS, pretty unplayable. I feel like you guys are gonna have to give it to the 5060 here, but we gotta test it out.
Yep, see what the 5060 can do. It's gonna be a big jump.
We are now on the RTX 5060 in Doom, and I'm going to show you guys these settings just to prove that they're the same, but we are not running any upscaling. We're just at 1080p, where we don't have any extra ray tracing on, just the base ray tracing. And you can see that this card not only just has such better ray tracing support that it runs a lot smoother, overall, just it's better hardware too. I know you guys don't want to think that. You're like, oh, NVIDIA just keeps making the AI better, but it's like there's no AI here, guys.
Yeah, this is it is 60 FPS. I will say, because the last time we were getting about 20 to 30, so we're getting about double over how many years it's been. Whatever when the 20 series
Response
release.
time's a lot better too.
Yeah, response times are better. Yeah, this is interesting. So it is an improvement for sure. The curious thing will be as we scale up, in this video, that's how we're going to focus on that. It's kind of like how the 4060 versus the 5060 is better, because we're doing like the lowest to the most recent. So the gap is double, but how is that in between looking? That'd be something to consider in the future.
Those are fun. We'll try Ultra Performance again. Oh yeah, the other one didn't have it. So we won't do frame gen,
Yeah.
but I will say with frame gen, we really could get like triple, quadruple the FPS.
Yeah.
I think this will already be
I
pretty.
mean, even this is 100. Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely doesn't look nearly as good, but I mean,
Yeah, Ultra Performance is aggressive, so you could probably run like balanced and it would look pretty close to native, but
I was pretty fine with honestly where it was at native. It really
Yeah.
wasn't too bad. Or out of ammo. But yeah, so I mean, overall, we can definitely say double the performance even on native, and when we put on upscaling, I mean, it's way better than the 2060 was. But this is a newer title, and we will be testing out some of the slightly older titles too.
let's go play some Spider-Man 2 and see what both of them could run like. Okay guys, we're now in Spider-Man 2, which I will say is looking a lot more playable right now. We're currently at 1080p, medium settings with no upscaling. I think we're on TAA and TA those things. So again, we're not really pushing any crazy ray tracing right now, but you know, it's a playable experience. I mean, I would probably, with some upscaling, I think it'll be more than playable. The real thing with this game is when you turn some ray tracing on, I have a feeling that's gonna be not so great. And now that I think about it, I'm probably gonna have to restart to show you that, but I will show you that, I promise. Because I think that's gonna be the biggest thing here is the beauty of the 2060 is it is a ray tracing GPU, but it's a first gen one that is well behind the 5060. So we just gotta show you guys, or kind of just show you different benchmarks that show how far we have come from the first lower end RTX card to the current gen.
I literally was like the cheapest for the longest time.
It was the cheapest option. And I mean, now we got the 5050, which, you know, could arguably be the cheapest option. I mean, it is the cheapest option, but I would say in terms of the 60 class level GPU, just curious to see in an area that we've seen some stagnation in terms of like the improvement, how far we've actually come when you just kind of zoom out and look back.
Totally separate. It'd be cool to see, I know we've done some 50-50 benchmarks. We should see if the 2060 compares to the 50-50 maybe. You just got wrecked.
I just got absolutely wrecked. Yeah, I'd be curious to see if that's that close or if the 5050 is that much better. We almost need to find the used GPU price equivalent of the 5050 because the 2060s you can get for about $130, something like that, as we mentioned in the beginning of the video. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see, but running about 40 to 50 FPS, I'm gonna go ahead and turn on some DLSS, which I think is gonna make quite the difference. So we'll go to upscaling method, DLSS, which this actually has frame gen for 40 series GPU, so of course it's not gonna work. Can we use transformer? Let's see. Let's do balanced. Okay, so we can use the transformer upscaling, which will be pretty nice. We're at a more constant 60 FPS. Just ever so slightly below 60, but this looks pretty solid at 1080p. VRAM-wise, not amazing. We'll turn on the ray tracing. We'll see if it launches, because last time we did ray tracing on this GPU in this game, we used like 13 or 14 gigs of VRAM, so we only have 6. that might not work out very well, but we're gonna go ahead and relaunch with that because that is the best way to do this, and we will see what that looks like. Okay guys, so now I have some ray tracing enabled, which I will say this actually is running. Medium with the high preset, which is low ray tracing, with the balanced DLSS enabled, and it's a little better than I expected, but the frame times are not great. I mean, just look at the frame time graph, it is all over the place, and there's just a lot of input lag. This card was already, when it came out, kind of like, is this really a good ray tracing card? When like, even the 2080 Ti was struggling with ray tracing when it first came out. In every game you launch, you'd be struggling to get 60 FPS. So 2060, I would imagine we would just get worse with age, get about 40 FPS. This is better than I expected though, but I would not run ray tracing on this card, especially a new AAA title like this. It's just cool that it has the feature for those forced ray trace games. But yeah, I think about 40 FPS, 45, I would say upper 40s, 50 FPS for ray tracing on, with some DLSS and everything enabled. We're in the 60s, but I'm just curious to see how big of a difference will the 5060 be, especially when paired with a CPU like the 9600X. We'll swap to the 5060 and find out. All right, guys, we are now in Spider-Man 2, currently running the following settings. We're doing it in reverse order, and I actually messed up just a few minutes ago thinking that we weren't doing it in reverse order. We're starting with ray tracing on, medium preset with no upscaling, so native, and yeah, the poor 2060 would not be able to get 80 to 90 FPS with this.
I think, didn't you do it and it was getting like, what was it, like 30s and 40s?
It was in its 30s. Now we're like looking at 70 to 80 FPS. It's really a no-brainer, and you guys at home should have known this going into it. When it comes to like ray tracing performance, any new 50 series GPU or even 9000 series AMD GPU is gonna totally wipe the floor with these, oh gosh, compared to older like first gen ray tracing architecture, because first gen architecture is dated nowadays. This technology is moving very fast.
You know what's crazy is we're only pulling about 225 watts like total for the whole system. And the 2060 is pretty power efficient too, but I guarantee it's pulling a little more than that.
Yeah, and the amount of FPS per watt is way higher with the 5060. But again, this is with ray tracing enabled. This is no upscaling, 1080p. You could stretch into 1440p with some upscaling if you want to. I will say we're getting close to that VRAM max. If you were gonna play 1440p, I'd be looking like 5060 Ti with the extra VRAM.
Whoa.
Because stuff like that might happen. A little weird. But we're gonna go ahead and go up here real quick, and just for comparison, we're gonna turn off ray tracing. Actually, we'll turn some upscaling first. Let's just do some DLSS on the transformer model in balance, because that's what we did last time. And I mean, now we're getting 100 plus FPS. Again, this is at 1080p. Okay, it dips still when we swing around. Honestly, it is a difference, but it's not a major difference. I think we kind of noticed that at 1080p. 1440p is where it will help you out a bit here if you are trying to play 1440p with this setup. But I mean, at some points we're getting much higher highs, so that is definitely a big difference. And lastly, as we mentioned, we will turn off ray tracing. We'll just turn it off. So we'll do, that's off.
You just shut the whole game down.
Not low. I want this on off. And then we're gonna hit apply, boom, yeah. And now we're getting 160 FPS. And we're maintaining close to 100 just swinging around the city. I think this game does benefit from having ray tracing, like the window reflections and everything look really good, so it's worth doing, but just the raw horsepower improvement here with this 5060 makes these newer games playable, and you can kind of hope so with the new gen GPU, but this is just the first time we're able to see side by side what this first gen versus newest gen looks like, and yeah, it is a dramatic difference. So let's go ahead and swap to another title. Let's swap to our favorite game, Benchmarkus, and see. I have a feeling it's gonna be more of the same for the 2060, especially when it comes to some ray tracing and the forced ray tracing that's in that game. And then we'll go to an esports title, Fortnite, which will be interesting to see if there is a difference, even though it's more CPU bound. And then of course our side-by-side testing. But let's go ahead and swap to Benchmarkus. Here he comes. Oh my God, he's coming. The council play this sound.
Here comes Benchmarkus.
All right, we are playing Benchmarkus. This is also known as Oblivion, remastered Unreal Engine 5, and we're currently running 1080p, our usual, 1080p medium preset. We got no upscaling on. We do have the Lumen software ray tracing to set to low, and playable, kind of.
The frame time graph is insane. It's like little spikes here and there.
It doesn't feel like, I see like 40.
Oh, now you can't jump. That's what having your lagging in between.
Oh, maybe that's because I'm out of stamina. And everything like that.
That wasn't even the graphics card's fault.
You know, that was happening yesterday on something we were doing, and I thought maybe it was broken, but looking back, I was just out of stamina, because it takes stamina, guys. I'm learning today.
Yeah, no, 30 FPS is not like ideal for this kind of scenario, but let's get all the yapping.
Oh, we're using 21 gigs of RAM. I think we're probably borrowing.
We have to be borrowing, because we're at 5.6. I feel like that's close to the cap of 6 gigs for the VRAM,
here,
so
boy.
block them.
Come here, little Jonah.
Get those little Jonas.
They're spreading. The Jonas are spreading across the Oblivion Nation.
They were once a
Retreat.
zygote.
Help, help. Go get them, boys. Go get them.
Oh, Jake's ready to die.
Now, of course, we got to try a little bit of what we would. Oh, resolution scale wasn't even up.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay, well, there you go. Let's fix that. It could be even worse. There you go. Wow. Well, you know what? It wasn't playable before. It got even less playable.
Yeah, see, if it was running like this and I had known, I would have said, wow, this sucks. Okay. So yeah, we'll make sure McAllister maybe puts it out of order or something, or at least tells you guys that that was not 100% render scale.
Because this is.
This is 100%. Yeah, now we're getting under 30. The frame times. I mean, yeah, this is what I would call unplayable. Before it was kind of like old Xbox experience.
Yeah,
It
it's
was like,
getting worse as we go down the mountain.
It is. It really is. Yeah. All right. So now, once I get to like here, I'm going to show you guys what settings maybe we'd run to make it kind of playable. Because, you know, we've been doing that more and more lately instead of just running the benchmark and then being like, okay. It's like, all right, what would it take to make it where we could play? So let's actually do this now. Let's go 75%. This is kind of redundant because I'm going to also put on
the double upscaling.
Yup.
There you go, DLSS.
So DLSS, performance. Let's try
Should
that.
go super.
I know we did FSR the other day and that worked a lot. Oh.
Helps a bit. It's still below 60 though, but it's more playable. The frame time graph is chilling a bit.
This looks pretty good. I'm gonna try what we did yesterday. 'Cause I feel like FSR on these NVIDIA cards, FSR is just kind of becoming superior. I don't know. Wow, it's not as good as I thought it would be, but
just
it's
60.
still better.
Because well, to be fair, that is right. Because we were getting close to like 30, but it has that like really bad ghosting.
Yeah, it's like ghosting, and the delay is like it shows that we're getting good response time, but we're not.
Yeah,
like
so
I can feel the delay.
FrameGen's just not the vibe of the CPU.
And DLSS isn't like a whole lot better. So I mean, Unreal Engine 5 stuff, which you know you guys will probably see across the board, is not going to be amazing for this GPU.
But can the 5060 do better? We think so. Let's see what the difference is like.
We're back at Benchmarkus, and we're currently on the 5060 now, so we're on our newer, latest and greatest GPU. And you can see here, we got everything back down, turned off 1080p, and my goodness, this is such a difference.
Is that render scale 100% now?
No, it's not.
There you go. We caught it early this time.
We did do it like that before.
We caught it early.
We're at 75% render scale.
Yes.
It is running way better still. Like way better than it was before at 75% of the 2060.
Yeah, before it was getting very, very low FPS. So
yeah, we're getting like pretty bad dips and stuff too.
yeah, it's just this is holding up significantly better.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn this corner. And I'm gonna go ahead and go back to
100.
Go to 100% because that'll look a lot better. But we will because we were getting like a little too much FPS.
There you go. That's more what
This
I
was
kind
more
of
accurate,
expect.
and the game looks way better now too.
Way sharper. We're actually running native 1080p. Yeah, this card is definitely capable of that with these games. And as we've seen, you can break the VRAM problem in certain titles if you are maxing out ray tracing and stuff like that. But this is the kind of game, and these are the settings I would probably run if you don't want to touch any upscaling with this graphics card.
Yep, but of course, we're going to show you guys upscaling. We're going to show you guys some frame gen in the games that will allow it, especially those single player games, because we've told you guys before, there's like no reason you should be scared of doing upscaling for single player. All right, so we know we got about, we'll just say like 75 to 80 FPS average when we're running native. I'm going to keep that at 100%. Because honestly, it's weird that I even did that before. Did we get to use FrameGen?
No.
We did on FSR.
FSR's FrameGen, yeah. So you can run DLSS FrameGen. And this is much smoother, 180 FPS.
Still looks pretty darn good, pretty sharp.
Love or hate the new tech, it's gonna work way better. You saw the random like laggy ghostiness that was going on with the 2060
Not
before.
getting that.
You're not getting that with this. You're getting really high FPS numbers. And even with just DLSS without FrameGen, you'd be getting 100 plus FPS pretty consistently.
Yeah, no, this is, I mean, we've definitely, once again, I would say doubled our performance. I know we haven't seen that in every game, but I mean, average-wise, we're getting close to double in almost everything.
So now we tested our hard to run games. Let's try Fortnite. Again, as we mentioned, more CPU bound game. Let's see what the difference is. There should be a difference, but how big? Let's find out. All right, guys, we're in Fortnite with the 2060. This is gonna be our first esports title. We'll do some side-by-side esports titles later, but far view distance, low textures, DX12. It is important to mention, and we'll go to brutal boxcars every single time. It is important to mention that this is a pretty CPU-bound game, but your graphics card does make a difference, and you should see from the 2060 to the 5060 an improvement in performance. Maybe we prove wrong when we do it, but I imagine it's going to be a pretty decent difference. But this is the ultimate test of, let's say you have an older gen 2060, and this is all the stuff you really play. Should you upgrade to 5060 at that point? We'll see. We're really giving you all both sides of the gaming aisle, where you're either a latest and greatest gamer or you mainly play Fortnite. Like, you could even honestly, if you wanted to, you could do 1440p, because at some points we're getting 300 FPS on these performance settings. But again, that all depends on what CPU you end up with. I mean, 9600X is honestly overkill for a GPU like this. Makes sense for a 5060, but yeah, just something to mention. Roof?
Is he crouch walking? He's crouch walking. What a baby.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely very playable. And honestly, if you were to get a 2060 nowadays, you'd probably be looking, the best value would be like a cheaper AM4 CPU or something like 12th gen Intel, maybe like an i3 or something like that. That'd be the best bang for buck if you're trying to get the maximum value with the 2060 used. I wouldn't go this route, but hey, Fortnite is incredibly playable. Let's get this guy over here. This guy's running really fast. Oh, that's a very dramatic slide. And I missed all the shots on him. That was crazy.
King Toucan.
King Toucan. Yeah, no, 200 plus FPS, 300 at times. Will we get higher FPS? Now I'm seeing the 300s. I wonder how much higher it's actually gonna be on these specific settings. Higher details, obviously, it's gonna be different, but we're gonna leave the higher details for the higher end games, not for Fortnite. Fortnite, you're just trying to target the maximum FPS on lower details. So swap to the 5060 and see if we see a dramatic difference. 200 plus, 300 at times? Let's do it. All right, gamers, we're back in Fortnite with the 5060. Will there be a major difference? Let's find out. Will the 9600X carry? I will say there's like something happening in this spot that I don't think was happening before. What the hell is that cloud? That might impact our FPS a little bit here, but we'll land on average before we're getting about 250 to 300. We'd like hit 300 every so often, but we weren't maintaining above 300. So let's land here and see if we stay well above 300. It's looking like we will. Actually, no. But I mean, again, we're talking about such high FPS numbers. It is important to show you guys this kind of information because if you're, let's say, playing Fortnite and you, well, most likely would have a lower end CPU, so you wouldn't be seeing these FPS numbers to begin with. Upgrading your GPU might not help that much on the settings that we're currently running. Because yeah, I mean, the FPS numbers are not, oh, whatever just changed there was pretty dramatic. But also we have this like weird glowy thing in the sky. And we're getting 300 FPS staring at it, so there's that.
Advantages.
Advantages. No, stop. Stop making those noises. Oh no. Boss battle, boss battle!
Wow, this is so epic.
Well, oh, whoa!
You got a Spartan laser.
I don't think I have much ammo for this partner, I'll be honest with you. I'm pushing him. Oh! I love fighting AI. Ah! Okay, I'm done with you. I'm taking a car. I'm fed up. You're too beefy for me. Too much of a beefcake. But yeah, again, this just seems like a scenario where you might not want to do the upgrade. If you have a decent CPU already, you're probably better off investing in a better overall CPU. I was curious if that was shooting from the boss or there's someone actually over there now. I'm scared.
Look, he's still going at him. He didn't even care about you.
Hello? Oh! You can't catch me! Oh God. Oh!
Uh-oh.
Oh, I'm reloading! Oh!
Oh.
Honestly, not a major difference in this game, but this is a more CPU-bound game, so that was kind of to be expected. But I thought there'd be a bit more of a difference when it comes to esports titles. But just something to mention, all the other games, dramatic difference. If you need GPU horsepower, the upgrade is definitely there and it's definitely worth it. But let's run some builds and benchmarks, some side-by-side testing, and come to a final conclusion here. But moving from the 2060 to the 5060, definitely an improvement. Okay guys, now that we finished our Let's Play benchmarks, let's go ahead and do some side-by-side testing to further see how big of a gap the 2060 is from the RTX 5060. First up at Marvel Rivals, 1080p medium settings with no upscaling. We're talking native here. We end up with an average of 60 FPS with a 1% low of 47 on the RTX 2060, while the RTX 5060 got a whopping 108 FPS with a 1% low of 77. This is a major improvement, especially for native settings. And even then, with some modern upscaling like DLSS 4 with the 5060, you'd be able to get 144 plus FPS in a game like Marvel Rivals. Now, is it unplayable in the 2060 with it being a $130 GPU? No, I think it's quite adequate. And paired with the right CPU, you can get a decent experience, especially if you turn on some DLSS in this game, but it is still a wide margin between the original 2060 and 5060. Next up, CS2 1080p low. With the 2060, you got an average of 432.1 FPS with a 1% low of 169, while the 5060 got an average of 580.5 FPS with a 1% low of 182. This is a consistent thing I have seen throughout our benchmarks when testing CS2. Yes, it is very CPU bound. As you can see, the difference between 400 and 500 FPS, most gamers don't really care, and if you are just playing CS, keep your 2060 and get a nice modern CPU and you'll have really good FPS numbers. But it does show, even on these lower details, you can get more frames with a better graphics card. It's just really depends if you think 400 to 500 FPS is worth the upgrade for you. Next up, Black Myth Wukong, 1080p medium settings with the built-in benchmark tool. We got an average of 47 FPS, a max of 55, and a minimum of 18 when it comes to the RTX 2060, while the RTX 5060 got an average of 87 with a max of 110 and a minimum of 19. This is a game where you're getting, again, pretty much double the FPS in terms of averages and max FPS numbers, making this game way more playable, and this is even before turning on any ray tracing. Black Myth Wukong would be very similar to all the other games we did at the Let's Play style, like Oblivion and Spider-Man, where it's just going to handle ray tracing so much better. That technology has been improved dramatically from the first 2060. And lastly, we ran 3D Mark Time Spy to get a GPU score to be able to compare the cent per point for each GPU. With the RTX 2060, we got a GPU score of 7,648. And with that score, we get a 2 cent per point score. So for a $139 GPU, the price performance is pretty solid for the 2060, even though it does struggle in newer games. Again, this calculation doesn't really take into fact the nuance of what games you're playing. It's just for this one test. So while it may do fine in this application, which isn't very ray tracing bound, in those newer titles, as you saw, it's definitely going to struggle, hurting its price to performance. And lastly, the RTX 5060 got a score of 14,031, which is also a 2 cent per point score, meaning both of these GPUs have somewhat equal value on the new market in terms of price performance in this specific workload, but that's why we don't run just that test. All the other tests you saw really show how big of a jump the 2060 to 5060 is, and spending that extra money, especially buying now, seems to be worth it. But the real question is, and maybe in a future video we'll dive into this, the gap between the 4060 and 5060 or the 3060 and 5060 is probably one that needs to be studied a little bit more. 2060 is getting very old and it's becoming really hard to recommend because the ray tracing performance is kind of poor, but depending on the price, if you're gonna play esports titles, it's still a really solid GPU. But we're talking 3060 and 4060, those GPUs have slightly better RT cores, which means they'll handle these ray tracing games much better. But is the gap going to be that much different from the 5060 to those GPUs? We'll have to test that in a future video and find out. But let's go and bring Jackson back in here and wrap this video up real quick and come to a conclusion about these two cards and just how far we've come.
Well, I gotta say, there was quite a big difference between this old 2060 and the 5060 over there. So, obviously, there's spec-wise, there's some obvious differences. I mean, we have 2 more gigs of VRAM, it's GDDR7 instead of GDDR6. It definitely pulls a little bit less power. The MSRP was technically less than when the 2060 came out, and on top of that, we're talking almost double performance in pretty much everything we tested.
Now, you could say NVIDIA could have added more VRAM instead of 2 gigs of VRAM over the past, almost 6 years. But that's really something that we'll complain about in another video. We talked about in our 8 versus 16 gigabyte VRAM video. If you haven't seen that video, definitely check that video out. But it is interesting to see that the 2060 to 5060 in terms of raw horsepower, major improvements, especially in those ray tracing titles. And in terms of price to performance, it does make the 5060 look pretty solid. Is it the best bang for buck GPU? Not necessarily. You can go use and maybe save a bit of money and get better options. But in a comparison of showing how far we have come from the 2060, we've definitely come very far. So if you're gonna buy any of the graphics cards from today's video, whether you're looking on eBay for a deal on a 2060 or you want a brand new 5060, use the link in the description down below. They will be affiliate links. They will help us out. Let us know if you think this difference was surprising to you guys, and do you think NVIDIA is still slacking in the 60 series department? Let us know down below.
But anyways, we hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure you check out our other 2 YouTube channels and also our twitch.tv/ToastyBros, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
See you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
So this 26th day we got a great deal on, and it's been heavily tested. Will end up in a PCBros.tech gaming PC build.
We sell gaming PCs for budget ballers who want to spend maybe $300, $400, $500 on a gaming PC or a high-end system. Whatever you want, PC Bros has got you covered. Use code TozyBros on checkout. You will save 3% of your next purchase. See you guys later. Goodbye.